Hey, Derek Keet, Remax Elite.
Josh Bourne, Canadian Residential Inspection Services.
Nice having you here today, Josh.
Thank you.
All right.
Nice to be here.
Thank you. So today what we're talking about is just a lot of people haven't had a property inspection before, and they're wondering, okay, how does it work? How what's going to happen step by step? Like what should they expect when they do a property inspection? So that's what we're talking about today. Please like, subscribe, give us that thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, Josh, can you tell us a little bit more about just kind of the process? So someone, they're about to buy a property.
Yeah.
They want to make sure the property is not falling apart or whatever's kind of happening with it. They want to make sure there's not extra costs that they're going to have later. So they hire you, right?
Yeah. So
what happens from there?
I get there with all my equipment, my tools, the ladders. We usually start in the exterior. Everything gets logged on a digital report, work our way inside, logging, issues big or small. And we walk through with the client everything that we find along the way and give them an approximation of the lifespan left in said issues and a ballpark cost to fix them. So at the end of the inspection, the client has a clear idea of what they're getting into.
All right, awesome. So you're basically making a list, right? So you're gonna make a list,
Checking
go around the house, checking it twice, figure out who was naughty and nice.
Yeah,
Get
it's almost
yes.
Christmas.
And then just kind of going through that list with them. I found as well with property inspectors, like asking them kind of an estimated price and how severe things are. I think that's quite important. So we were going through that a little bit earlier, and you'll have some property inspectors that they'll leave it all up to the client, they'll leave it all up to the buyer to decide whether it's an important issue or it's not an important issue. And I mean, that's great. You don't want to push them to be like, oh, this is nothing, that's nothing, and convince them that, well, everything is great, right?
Yeah, everything's wonderful.
Everything's wonderful. That's okay. The house falls, but it's okay. We can figure that out. But at the same time, we found like sometimes the issues, like you were mentioning before, a little screwdriver or something, and
sometimes it's quick and easy. Sometimes it costs a little more. Yeah. We like to be transparent with everything we find, including what we think the price might be, how long it would take, how invasive it might be. Because the thing in construction is, if you find an issue, there is always a way to fix it. Just depends how deep your pockets are sometimes, or if you want to even deal with that, or if you wanted to get into something a little more turnkey, ready to go, or more of a renovation project.
Right. And I think having that communication is key, right? So you have that communication with the client and also with the property inspector to be able to say, okay, this is the estimated cost, or this is the severity of it. So they're not freaking out.
Exactly.
But at the same time, they're not just, okay, everything's great, let's move forward, and then they freak out later, right?
Yeah.
So the idea is kind of having that communication. So I would say definitely find a property inspector here, like Josh. Yes, definitely. But I mean, find one that's going to communicate well with you, right? So then you understand what the issues are. Like that was the other thing. There's always gonna be something.
Yeah, there's no perfect home out there.
Yeah, like have you ever been to a home, did an inspection and said, nope, we're good?
No, just in the movies. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, no, never showed up and walked out the door like we're fine. There's always something. Yeah. And it's the issues we find, it's always worth knowing in the list down the road when you need to deal with it as an approximation. I
also feel like as a realtor, some of the things are also negotiable, right? Like where if you find something that's wrong, and then okay, well that might be a benefit because now we know kind of, it's going to cost this much, and we double that and try to lower the price. Or there's some negotiating things that happen
for your
there
leveraging
right?
purposes, for sure.
So it's going through and saying, oh no, so sometimes, especially if someone has a certain price that they're looking at, and if they do find these issues, then it does become a negotiating issue as well. So a lot of the stuff can be negotiated, and a lot of it is just taking that kind of emotion out of it and getting more to the facts, getting more to the dollar figures and saying, okay, this is what it'll cost to fix that. This is the price. Are we going to lower the price? What's the market like? Is that going to be acceptable? And these are all things that definitely communicate with your realtor, and make it happen, right?
Yeah, and occasionally some of the more nefarious sellers try to hide things in the home that are damaged, and they kind of pretty it up and try to make it so we don't see that. So it's nice to identify those as well. There was one example was there was a garage door with a hinge broken, and they had zip tied it back together and painted the zip ties silver to match the hinges.
Oh.
And then those invariably broke.
So instead of
stuff like that out there.
Instead of having a hinge for your garage door, you now have a zip tie.
A plastic hinge.
Plastic zip tie.
Yeah, exactly.
So
safety third on that one.
Yeah. Very good. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys, and like, subscribe, give us that thumbs up.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys later. Take care. Bye.